Good evening and welcome back to the NYJF pod. We got Rob Carpenter and Jay Copel in the house. No fireman in tonight, but a lot to discuss as the Jets played their preseason opener last Thursday, followed by some practices that were open to the public on Saturday and Sunday. So I was there for those. We had the debut of One Jets Drive on Monday, Hard Knocks Tuesday, joint practices yesterday. So a lot to get into. Almost a month away from the season. So how we feeling, fellas?
I'm feeling good, man. I Hard Knocks was fire, got me all fired up. I was ready to run through a fucking wall when they kicked it off with that crow. Look, I don't usually get all juiced up in speeches like that, man, but that had me fired up. I was like, damn it. And the funny thing is, Aislinn, my fiance, Patriots fan, I said to her, listen, I want you to get into the Jets a little bit with me, this year, and I want you to sit down and watch Hard Knocks with me. And she did. She sat and she watched the whole episode of Hard Knocks, and I think she liked it. She enjoyed it. She was digging Aaron Rodgers and all that stuff. And so, I look at that as like, it's kind of fun to see like what non-Jets fans are watching Hard Knocks right now and what their thoughts are on, what's unfolding in the team and everything. And it's just it was a fun vibe over here. She doesn't even like to watch the Jets with me. And I'm sure her dad would be pissed off if she found out, but that's life. But I'm fired up. But, and then afterwards, of course, then we, look on social media and you got these clowns and they're the crows. They're the ones that Saleh's talking about and just pecking and trying to find some bullshit to pull out of there that they can talk about that spin it to some kind of negative town. And I don't know what the fuck we're doing. Like, these guys are saying that Robert Saleh is not a leader because of like Aaron Rodgers is a big voice in the room, as if like, in Tampa when Tom Brady arrived, he didn't have a voice. That didn't work out so well over there. Like, what the fuck are we doing here? I'm gonna pass it to Rob. Let him talk, man, because I'm gonna get too fired up too early.
Is it one of the speech at the beginning of Hard Knocks actually was one of the better speeches I've heard from coaches in a long time, man. Like, my former coach Ray Rhodes, when I was in Philly, had one of the all-time best speeches. One game before we played the Cowboys, and we went out there and won the game. But that speech right there, it actually is ironic that. He talked about the crows pecking on the eagle, and you just and the eagle just soars up as high as he can, and just to basically suffocate the crow. Then you get on, like you just said, Jay. You got some media cronies out here talking about Saleh's not a leader. That's exactly what was going on. He'll fly up high enough, and just once the season starts and things start going well, man, these guys actually be drowned out, and they'll suffocate, and then they'll be changing their spiel about anything else that has to go with this team. But man, we always know the narrative of what's going on. We talked about this ad nauseum, for weeks, here on the pod, and anything that has to do with the Jets, man. Some people actually in New York are going to be, talking negative about it, mostly because they're probably Giants fans, and they can't stand anything, positive going on with the Jets. So, I welcome it, and I just welcome the fact that, as the season goes on, we all know it's not going to be, hunky-dory for every week in the season, but the majority of the wins come and things will change as the season goes along. So, it was just a fun thing to watch, man.
It's a shame that I have so many like motivational clips on my Instagram feed, because I knew where that crow and eagle speech was going. I've seen that clip before, but I thought it was weird that the media decided to tie in Aaron Rodgers being a leader as some sort of knock against Saleh. Like, I think most fans at the end of last year, like, we've had these questions about Saleh. Is he the CEO type of head coach? Did some good things. Team still collapsed at the end of last year. He's still got some things to prove. But to try to use Aaron Rodgers being a leader as some kind of knock against him, that's where I didn't understand where, Saleh and all these other guys were trying to go with that.
I don't know, man. They just what I fear, Kev, is that like we're giving these guys exactly what they want, right? Like, they know if they say some stupid shit that every Jet fan account, every blogger, every podcaster and all that are going to run the clips, and they're going to talk about the show, and a show that has no juice whatsoever. Who is Sean Marash? Like, legit, I'm a big WFAN guy, so I've kind of heard of him in the periphery and shit like that. But like, who's Sean Marash? Like, this guy, all of a sudden, he got a guest gig on an afternoon. He made a ridiculous statement, and now we're all talking about him. It's like, I'm gonna get like,
I had the conversation on Twitter exactly about that, Jay. There's guys that will be out there that just say stuff just to get the ratings up. Things are going slow, and let's just pick out something about the Jets, and we'll talk about them, and we'll get these ratings up for this day in a few days because guys will be talking about the stuff that we said that we know is kind of bullshit. So, we'll get the followers and everybody talking on social media about what we said. So, that's why I take it, man, and I look at it that way. For everything that's actually said, especially negative about the Jets when things are actually going positive. So,
yeah.
For me, I made the comment on Twitter just the one time, yesterday about that. It's funny when you sent me the clip. I'm like, man, I just talked about this on Twitter, I had the one quick convo with the guy where he said, man, I agree with him that Saleh's not the guy. He's kind of like a guidance counselor. I'm like, dude, do you know what a coach is? Like, he is a guidance counselor for 60 guys. You know what I'm saying? You can't talk to everybody the same. You can't treat everybody the same. So you are a guidance counselor when you're running a team. So I don't really know where you're going with that, but it's just one of those things, man. You just gotta take it with a grain of salt and keep it moving.
When you get to a certain point, when you're Aaron Rodgers, right? Like, and you've had the success you had in the league and you have the reputation you have and everything, like, you've earned that voice. You like the guys like Sauce Gardner gravitating towards Aaron Rodgers because they want to soak in whatever time they have with him. They even said it like a sponge, and get that knowledge and everything. That could never be a bad thing. It's ridiculous to even say this. Isn't like we got like, I'm just going to throw a name out there, Ryan Tannehill in the offseason as like the veteran guy, and they're like sweating the guy. It's freaking Aaron Rodgers. Like, what are we doing here? That's the craziest take. I've heard a lot of crazy takes on Twitter in my life, but when I logged on and I saw like that was the take that some of these guys were going with, I was like, you got to be shitting me. Like, they're just inventing bullshit now, and like things are going well, so they're like, you know what, we got to find something. So let's say,
And listen to what Al Wood said too. I mean, this guy's cool as shit, right? Everything that all the media narratives that many of us thought, even some Jeff fans thought we were getting the diva that didn't want to mentor young guys. Every single one of those narratives, he's already proven wrong already in 3 short months.
That's
I got to switch the vibes up.
Let you know that things are going right. When you have guys who have never been around Aaron Rodgers finally meet him and they're on the team with him and get to know him a little bit, and then you get to know a guy, and then the whole narrative about what you thought about a guy and what you heard about in the media and all these years changes. And Jay, you're absolutely right. Like when Garrett Wilson actually said he's trying to soak up as much as he can from the guy, because you don't know how long his window is that they have him here. Just a couple of years, and he's only in his second year in the league, and he's trying to get to know the guy and learn as much as he can from a multi-year MVP and a Super Bowl winner. So, why wouldn't that voice want to be heard, around the locker room and things like that, man? It's just silly, man, when you think about, what some guys actually have to say about Saleh at this time.
Guys, I just want to jump into this real quick before we move on to the next topic. Brosco, yeah, so check it out. The hats are fire. We actually have a couple different ones. We have these Under Armour ones, and we have the ones that Rob and I are wearing, the mesh fitted ones. But
still waiting.
Here's what I'm going to say to that. I'm going to just make the announcement now because we're at the point where we can do this. We got a beer coming out, guys. It's called Fireman Ed's NYJF Lager, and we have an event planned as a big party to sort of kick it off. The morning and afternoon of the Jets-Chiefs game on October 1st. So we're partnering with Bolero Snort. They're a brewery a mile away from MetLife Stadium. And at 11 a.m. to 3 p.m., the parking lot's not going to be open yet at MetLife. So from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m., we're doing a big NYJF party. It's going to be free to attend. You just come check it out. You can pick up the beers. You can pick up some merch. You can pick up some hats, and all that stuff. We're going to be going live with the beer in the next couple of weeks. And we have a Disney artist that's actually drawing the can. This shit looks fire. So I can't wait. It's a lager. It's a football beer. So you guys are definitely going to want to check this out. Tailgates and everything. It'll be available in liquor stores all over New Jersey, select bars and restaurants for now. But yeah, we're pumped to get that out. So if you want to get some hats and stuff like that, definitely come out to that. And just stay tuned on our social media. We'll keep everybody updated in all the events that we have planned coming up. But it's gonna be a fun
9-hour tailgate. What can go wrong, right?
9-hour tailgate. It's gonna be lit. Doing 11 to 3 at that Bolero Snort, then going right down the road to MetLife when the gates open, and doing 3 to 8 in MetLife. And who knows if we'll even remember that game? But we're gonna have
the
to
same crowd to make it inside.
we're gonna have to stay focused. We got Patrick Mahomes coming to town. There's no stumbling into that. We got to make sure we bring our A game.
Cool. That's good comment here from Israel. It's funny. I rewatched Rex on Hard Knock series. He said he couldn't be the only leader in the room. He wanted players to step up and become leaders. Now it's a problem.
Every coach wants that, though. Like every coach, you walk around the league. Every coach wants that. They don't want to be the sole voice. You got to have veterans that actually have a voice, especially when you have a lot of young guys on the team. That's the teaching protocol right there. So it's the head coach can't be in every meeting room and speak to every player at all times. So you need a voice or a few voices of veterans around in the meetings, around the locker room, on the field, and stuff like that. So you get to teach guys. And the more that happens, the better the team is. You just look around the league, for years and years and years. The more veterans you have speaking and teaching young guys, the better your team ends up being.
Facts.
Well said. All right, so I guess we could jump to the Hall of Fame game a little bit. Just Rob, I'm curious, who are some of the guys that stood out for you? There's some highs and lows from Zach. Some wide receivers on the back end that have some nice competition right now with Brownlee, Malik Taylor. He's been getting some looks. So who are some of the players that stood out for you?
It's funny because when I was at practice during the week, just before the game, Brownlee was making every play you could imagine in practice. The one-handed catches, the crazy routes, and every quarterback, whenever he was lined up, looked his way. And I saw something in the game, and I was going to hope that it didn't, continue after the game, but it's kind of see it a little bit now in a few more practices since then. But Brownlee actually had a drop after his first two catches, and it looked like he lost a little concentration. It seemed effective for the rest of the game, but Jello came on. He's been pretty much coming out of nowhere, and it's been that way since the game. I've noticed in the practices, and since the game itself, after Zach hit him on that long pass on the sideline, and Aaron was calling for it. So that's something that we hadn't seen, previous to the game itself. But after that, I'm kind of curious now to see, how the other guys, the young guys, actually are stepping on Brownlee's toes, because it seemed like Brownlee actually had a spot locked up, and it just seems like now that the other young guys actually stepping up a little more.
You can tell that first practice that was open to the public after the Thursday game, they gave Malik Taylor at least like 3 or 4 deep shots down the field, and a lot of it was with the 1s and 2s also.
Correct. And the thing about the game, though, I couldn't really take a whole lot away from the game for everything else, because so many guys weren't playing. There's so many guys that were playing, a lot of young guys that were playing that we probably won't see, in a couple of weeks. But it was good to see Izzy get in the end zone. It looked like he had a little burst out there on a couple of plays. It was good to see Makai actually have, a decent game. Even though he only played, 7 or 8 plays, whatever it was, but it was good to see him, get his feet wet back in some competition with some other players, even though, it wasn't the Browns' top competition, but, he did get his feet wet, and, he performed pretty well. I actually was excited to see him on some of those run blocks where he actually got down the field and could move some guys out of the way. The rest of the team, Surratt, even, I noticed that in the game, but it was also cool to see that Saleh, acknowledged that during Hard Knocks, man, because
if he's healthy, it looks like he's a lock to make the team with the way that Saleh was talking about him.
For sure. Yeah, I was going to say that kind of review on his game.
For him, you see a lot of coaches actually, talk on the coattails of some young players that they want to see perform, and he seems like one that all the coaches are on, and we're happy to see performing like he did in practice in a game situation. So, we'll see over the next couple of weeks if he actually is in the mix, in that linebacker spot. If he's playing early in the preseason games, that'll let you know that he's actually right there and vying for one of those spots. And I wouldn't be surprised if he makes it, because kid's got speed all over the field and he can hit, and he seems like a short tackler. So and coming from the position of playing offense previously, he knows how to read routes. So that was one of the things when he got the interception, where he saw it coming and got to his coverage and made the interception, and everybody was happy about that. But I think we'll see in the next couple of weeks over as far as more young guys actually playing in these preseason games, because a lot of starters aren't going to play much for the rest of the preseason.
Was it kind of surprising that guys like Huff and Clemens, they were still out there like in the fourth quarter, almost like essentially playing a full game? That surprised you at all?
I was surprised about Huff and Clemens being out there so much. I thought more of Jermaine Johnson and Will McDonald will be out there a lot more, but Huff being there, and he's one of the guys that actually I see being in the mix a lot more this season. I mean, because everybody around the league sees his pressure, man. It was right after the game where Brian Baldigan was on it all over the place, man. He's like, this dude is one of the top pass rushers in the game. To be his size, I actually was surprised that he was out there so much more, playing so much during the game, because it's almost like the coaches don't believe what they have, and want to see more. And it's like, what more do you need to see about this guy? He literally is legit when he's on the field. He makes plays all over the place. And, but I was excited to see, Will McDonald make some of the plays that he made. At the size he is, it's almost funny to see him because he's not really a very big guy to play outside linebacker or defensive end. But, with his speed and his length, he makes the plays that need to be made, especially with, with him reading those RPOs and, coming down the line and making tackles right on the line of scrimmage. That was actually good to see, and see some of the pass rush moves that he had, putting pressure on the QB. So I actually was pleasantly surprised to see, him making the plays that he made. But we know there's speed all over the defense, and we know that defensive line is going to have a crazy rotation throughout the season. So, basically the mainstays is going to be Carl and Quinnen right off the bat, but the rest of those guys are just going to be flexed in all over the place, and it's good to see. They have the depth, and most of those guys can make plays all over the field in situations that they're in the game.
I'm officially pulling for Tanzel Smart now after the board. I'm a fan for life.
Now. Everybody's gonna run that clip back and forth to the entire season, man. That was pretty funny.
I do like a good charcuterie board. I'll tell you that. The fact that he's mentioning it gets me fired up, man. Who likes cheese, crackers, honey, freaking the little pickled veggies, all that, man. Let's get it. I'm ready for like a Monday night football charcuterie, a little charcuterie spread.
I don't know what Jay's talking about. I'm talking about charcuterie.
I understand. We gotta say it just like that, man. We gotta say it, the charcuterie board, man.
Charcuterie.
So shifting to Saturday, we had Klecko and Revis get inducted into the Hall of Fame. Even better, Klecko calls on Ed to do his chant. So just what was that like, seeing that on TV? Watching two legends get inducted and the response that the fans gave, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, I was just upset. I was upset personally that Browns fan. That guy was like 6'9". He stood up right in front of Ed right as he was about to leave that chant and like blocked the view from the TV. I was like, come on, bro. You're a Browns fan. Sit down, man. Like, let us have our moment. But that was cool, man. That was definitely cool. It was, look, anytime you get to see Ed at these things, it's funny. Like, it'll get like, you'll get like 98% of Jet fans fired up. And then you get just like the media, they're always trying to find something. Then you get the clowns on social media that are like, oh, fuck this guy. Why do they focus on him? It's like, because it's Fireman Ed, bro. The guy's a legend. He's been doing it for, since I was a kid, and I'm 43. I was getting on my dad's shoulders at Giant Stadium, when looking down from section 311, looking down at Ed and doing Jets chants in like 88. I was like 9 years old. So like, let the man have his time. And it's because Joe Klecko calls on Fireman Ed to lead a chant at his Hall of Fame speech. It didn't happen the other way around. Klecko literally called him from the stage and was like, where you at, Ed? And he's like, I'm in the back. And he's like, all right, well, I need you to lead a chant. Ed's like, let's run it, and it's a beautiful thing, man. I love to see it. I love to see Ed getting his props out there. And I love that that chant was loud. Shout out to Gotham City crew and everybody that like went out there and had a great time and cheered on Revis and Klecko and got those Jets chants going out there. It was very cool. It was a very cool moment.
Definitely was cool, man. Definitely was. Guys like Joe, Marty, Ed was around with those guys in Shea Stadium, man. So, they know the value of Ed, being a Jets fan, man. So, older guys, the younger fans, going through the BS, a few years ago with Ed. Some of those guys are, of course, they're going to be hating, man. But we got guys like, Joe going into the Hall of Fame, man. He calls out Ed. That lets you know how much Ed means to the older players and the guys actually that are in the Ring of Honor, and these guys going into the Hall of Fame, and older Jets fans around, man. Ed is one of those guys that you knew was going to be in the stadium every week, regardless, and was trying to get the fans fired up, man. So that was actually great to see, man. Because there were so many Jets fans out there in Canton, and every one of them, was involved. Once Ed jumped up and once Joe called him out and Ed did it, you could hear it, man. So, that was pretty awesome. Even hearing it on TV.
Listen, if you're 21 years old this year and you have a problem with Fireman Ed and you go to Jets games, I'm throwing out a personal invitation. Shoot us a DM if you're going to the game. I will tell you where we tailgate. You can come over. You can crack open a Fireman Ed NYJF lager with us, and you can talk to Ed. I'm sure you can talk it out, and you will leave, and you will love that, man. I promise you. So let's all Jet fans, all of us, let's get along this year. Let's enjoy the ride, and support all each other fans. Like we have a fun time ahead of us. It's been a long time since we've had this kind of optimism going into a season. So let's try to enjoy it.
So I guess the chat is telling us we need to talk about the offensive line right now. Our offensive line is trash, to be honest. Makes no sense still. It's our last issue. We have no healthy starting tackles. You guys realize that is a major issue with Joe Douglas. He can't build a good offensive line. He just clearly can't do it. And I'm kind of looking at it like, all right, yeah, there's sort of a reason to panic when you look at the way Billy Turner's playing right now, who's just getting spun around like a top seemingly every day. You got Max Mitchell. It looks like he's kind of regressing a little bit. Dwayne Brown still 2 weeks away. You're seeing some good things from Becton, but then, after a few good reps, you look over and he's on one knee. It looks like he's laboring a little bit, and they still have AVT. Obviously, they could use him. That was talked about today. So what's your take on the offensive line? Are you starting to panic yet, or still a little bit too early with the season being a month away?
Still too early, man. It's a work in progress. And we knew coming into the season it was going to be a work in progress. Dwayne Brown was going to be down. Makai was going to be a question. Max Mitchell was going to be a question. Was AVT going to stay at guard, or were they going to move him to tackle? There was questions all over the place. And at this point, it's one preseason game down. That's the beginning of the preseason, and no other team has played a preseason game yet. So, except for tonight. But, going into the next couple of weeks, of course, they're going to have to get the continuity down on the offensive line somehow, some way. And whether it's waiting for Dwayne Brown to get back, even if he comes back, before the season starts, it's going to be a couple of weeks before he actually gets into game shape and gets ready, fully ready to play, because then he has to, hone his skills with the guy next to him playing left guard. So, right now, is there a panic? No. If there's something that's going on when the season starts, there's always ways for an offensive coordinator to help out an offensive line. Always.
Not just that, Rob, but how it goes. The guys get cut, veterans get cut before the season, and we have plenty of money to spend. We could definitely, I could see us bringing in, we may not even have our full offensive line in camp yet. Like, it's possible we may sign somebody, we may make a trade for somebody. Aaron Rodgers and Saleh and all these guys, they're not gonna allow this to continue into the season. We're now August 10th and the first game September 11th. So we have a full month here to get this situation, righted. Obviously there's some question marks. I mean, Kev, I'm on record about, like, I don't have very much faith that Makai is going to really give us too much this year. I mean, I would love to see it. Obviously that'd be great, but as far as I'm concerned, I'm not really counting on him for much. Anything he gives us would be amazing. If he could return to form of his rookie year, that would be like the ultimate wild card. But like, AVT's not playing, Dwayne Brown's not playing. That's 40% of the offensive line right there, right? And then, so before we start getting crazy about like how terrible the offensive line is, let's kind of give it a chance to settle in and see what it's going to be on opening day. I'm not going to panic from anything that happens this early in the preseason. Like Rob said, other teams haven't even played a game yet. So like, we're coming into this game, on Saturday against the Panthers. Shout out Charlotte. Shout out last time we went to, Charlotte, I met my fiance, got to give props to that. But, let's get a couple more games under our belt here, see what shakes loose and see how this goes. Thankfully, it's not Aaron Rodgers back there, and not only that, but to be fair, I don't even think they didn't give up a sack, right, against the Browns. No. So, I mean, the offensive line hasn't been as terrible as everybody.
That wasn't even the starters, though. And I think that's where a lot of the panic is coming from. Not so much the preseason game.
The one thing
but it's more that every single day, it seems like at least once, if not twice, you got Billy Turner giving up a sack, Max Mitchell with penalties and sacks. It just seems like, especially on the outside, that's where these guys are having some problems. And maybe that's a testament to the speed that the Jets have on defense too. So
in any training camp situation, the defense is always going to be ahead of offense. And we've talked about this for many years. And the offensive line is the last unit to gel, specifically because the amount of injuries that come with and guys moving, from the left side to the right side. You got another guy who actually wasn't playing with the first unit, moving from second unit to the first unit. So guys need to gel on the offensive line because there's a lot of things going on before the snap. I mean, there's a lot of things going on with the offensive line before the snap. When you have to adjust protections, you have to adjust run blocks, calls between the center and the guards. It's just so much happening, before the plays actually even start. But the one thing I could say is, in the next couple of weeks, like you said, Jay, very possible. A trade could happen. Somebody could get released and re-signed. But the one thing I take as far as Saleh goes is that it's Aaron Rodgers back there, and he's seen pretty much everything that can come his way, and he knows how to adjust protections. This is his offense. It's not like he's learning anything new. He's had his issues in Green Bay with his offensive line over the last 4 or 5 years. So, him adjusting to that, I don't have any word. Now, if it was Zach back there, trying to do this and make these adjustments and help out the offensive line, that would be a whole different situation. But Aaron being back there, he'll see the defenses coming. He'll know the blitzes that are coming, and he can make the adjustments, and he knows where the ball can go and where the ball should go and get out quickly. But the one thing I also can say is our defense is always going to keep us in the game. Regardless how bad our offensive line is playing, defense is always going to keep us in the game. And we got number 8 back there. So if it comes to a late game situation and we need some points, I'll take it.
That was pretty much Ulbricht's message on Hard Knocks, like the throw that he was talking about with Ruckert on the back shoulder. He's like, we have the only quarterback in the NFL that's probably making that throw, so.
That's a good thing. When you have your own defensive coaches, giving props to getting beat in practice by your offense, and you don't have to worry about many other quarterbacks around the league actually making throws like that or making things happen like that. That lets you know, the whole squad is excited to have number 8 back there.
Yeah, he was basically like, that was great defense you guys played on this. I don't know any other quarterbacks completing that pass. So you go, just keep up the good work. It was crazy to hear coach say that. Like, they and all his defense, their reactions were hilarious. They were just like, woo, crazy.
I mean, I love it. We see it every day in practice. You know what I'm saying? We see the clips, we see the passes that he makes. And you guys heard what I said on the first podcast we had. This guy throws the most crisp pass in the NFL, and he's on point 99% of the time with his passes where they need to be, even when a defender is literally draped all over a receiver. We saw it again today. DJ Reed was all over Taylor, and he put the ball in the only spot where Taylor could catch it, and DJ Reed was shocked that the ball even made it. And I think sometimes defenses are a little shocked at the arm strength that Aaron Rodgers has, with intermediate passes, because the zip that comes on the ball, it gets there in a hurry, and defenders really just don't have a chance to react much. So that's also another good thing, even with the offensive line issues that we may have.
All right, so I guess we can hop into some One Jets Drive versus Hard Knocks talk. Curious your thoughts on One Jets Drive. It almost felt like, I don't know if there were certain things that they had to let Hard Knocks show the following day. It almost felt like, I don't know, it was different than in years past. They spent 20 minutes with Aaron Rodgers on the golf course. The intro speech that he gave, I thought he knocked it out of the park when he was breaking the team down, talking about the emblem. It stays with you when you leave the facility, always represent, the team the right way. I thought that was great. But what were your thoughts on One Jets Drive compared to, the following night with Hard Knocks?
I've been giving the side eye because he got everybody in there talking Donald Trump, and I don't understand how we got to that point, man. We're sitting here trying to talk some Jets, and
they're talking about the stuffed animals on my bed.
They're doing politics inside. Yeah, I'm surprised you're not getting just crushed for that. But anyway, I want to leave this one off because I think I have a pretty good take on this one. It's tough, like. Sometimes you watch like American Idol or a show like that, and like the contestant will come out and they'll sing a song that's like almost like way too big for them, right? And it'll be like a Whitney Houston song, and they're like, "Come on, man! Like nobody sings Whitney like Whitney." So like, Hard Knocks. If you're gonna put a One Jets Drive out the night before Hard Knocks, like that HBO squad is, I mean, it's hard to live up to that, right? Like if you're gonna produce a show in house and you're gonna run it the day before Hard Knocks, and then fans and people are obviously gonna compare the two, that's a tough spot to be in because like it's just not going to be as good. Frankly, I mean, Hard Knocks, like that was an incredible show. That got me fired up. I was legitimately look. I don't want to like crush the Jet. I think they do a wonderful job with it for the most part, but like I was not in any way entertained. I thought it dragged on for an incredible amount of time. I feel like they could have gotten that episode done in 15 minutes and stretched it out to 45. There was so much unnecessary stuff in there. There was way too much time with Aaron Rodgers at the golf course for my tastes. Maybe some people enjoyed that. I didn't. I was fast forwarding through stuff. It just wasn't really my thing for myself. But I really enjoyed Hard Knocks. I thought it was incredible. Again, I don't want to crush One Jets Drive or the Jets, internal team, because I think that like they put out great content all year. It's just like if you're comparing it to Hard Knocks, it's kind of an unfair comparison. Like the Hard Knocks was unreal.
I just felt like there were so many other storylines that they could have tried to dive into a little bit, with Breece Hall coming back from rehab and AVT also, Becton's story. You got a lot of good personalities on this team. The offensive and defensive rookies of the year, which they spent a little bit of time on. I just felt like there were so many other stories they could have paid a little bit more attention to instead of 20 minutes with Rodgers on the golf course.
Right, but Kev, you know what? That's for us, right? Like for us hardcore Jet fans, we want to see these stories about these like, Breece Hall and stuff like that, but they're also creating this show for a national, I mean, for people that aren't even necessarily Jets fans. If you're talking about Hard Knocks, really more than One Jets Drive, I guess. One Jets Drive, you're probably right, does have the opportunity to dive into some more technical stuff Jets related that like Jets fans might appreciate more than the actual.
In years past, they've done great segments with Lawson coming back from injury. They were in Mosley's basement, after he had the 2 years away. So I was expecting a little bit more of that. So
yeah, that would have been good for One Jets Drive. I think when you're talking about Hard Knocks, they're going to focus on the Aaron Rodgers stuff as much as possible because that's what the outside audience, the Detroit Lions fans and the Arizona Cardinals fans who are just watching because they want football content on HBO. They're going to be. They don't give a shit about our backup linebacker depth chart battles and stuff like that. They want to see like the stuff that like is national headline making stuff. A little Sauce Gardner, a little Garrett Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, shit like that. I think that like One Jets Drive, they all still have an opportunity to like listen to some feedback and go there. I mean, they're only one episode in also, right? So like potentially like next few episodes might be diving into those topics that you want to see. And it's also got to be a little tough to get that first one off the ground. Things are going to really start heating up in training camp and the battles are going to start progressing and they'll actually have more content to show and game film and all that stuff. So I think it'll continue to get better as it goes. I just didn't love my personal, I'd give it like a 6 out of 10 or something like that on the first episode for One Jets Drive and about a 9 out of 10 on Hard Knocks.
I think everybody was going to assume that it was going to be about Aaron Rodgers anyway. That's been the buzz from the moment he was traded for. But I think One Jets Drive, since it's probably going to be a season long thing this year, there's going to be a lot more storylines every week when we're thinking about getting into personal lives of the players like they've done in the past. Like you guys just talked about, Carl Lawson when his comeback, and CJ being away from the squad. So there's probably going to be a lot more episodes where they could be following Garrett Wilson around, or following Sauce. There may be some clips of Sauce, getting his degree like there was on Hard Knocks. But Hard Knocks is just a training camp thing. So there's going to be that few weeks of buzz of just this with the with the training camp and the way it's been in the past, and guys getting cut and all these storylines of things happening within just a few weeks period of time. But One Jets Drive, man, it's going to be around. You know what I mean? So there's going to be storylines all over the season that we'll get into and we'll enjoy as the season goes along. But you can't really compare the two because Hard Knocks is just a training camp thing. It has been around for so long. You know what I'm saying? And every year it's a different team, but us following One Just Drive, it's about the Jets, and we know a lot of the storylines that go into it. So, but as the season goes along, of course, there's going to be more and more storylines to pop in, and we'll be watching One Just Drive in January, in February. You know what I'm saying? After the season when things go along, so we got a whole full season long thing. One Just Drive. It's just Hard Knocks is just that show that takes place over just a few weeks period of time, and everybody just wants to see what's going on during just this training camp period. And it's one of the better shows that are on HBO Max now, that we've been watching over for I don't know, last 15 years or so, 20 years.
Yeah, my major take out of Hard Knocks also is just how likable the guys on our team are now, coming into this year. Like, Sauce going the extra distance in school and getting his degree, and now Quinnen wants to follow in his footsteps and get his degree. And you heard Garrett Wilson talking and the things he was saying about like Aaron Rodgers and the history and everything. And like, they're all so like soft spoken and so likable. It's like, it's kind of crazy, in comparison to like the last few years and some of the guys we've had pull up in here and guys like Jamal Adams and stuff like that, where they were, a lot of talk, and not really as, the results to really back it up. Like these guys they just seem so humble and like, so they just want to win, and it's so easy to root for these guys.
They're likable and they like each other too.
Yeah.
A lot of them came in together too.
Right.
I literally just going to say that, Kev. So the one thing we talked about previously, would guys actually be shying away from the cameras when Hard Knocks was around? And I said, nah, they're not. These guys are still going to be, the way they normally are, because there's cameras around all the time. They got so used to, or getting so used to One Just Drive being around. So, with Hard Knocks being there, the good thing about Hard Knocks being there, it actually is showing, the real personalities of the players that are on the team, and they genuinely like each other, and the clip right there, Charcucci boy. The funniest thing about that to me was Quinnen Williams cracking up. That dude was dying laughing about that whole thing. You know what I'm saying? So, and Quinnen is one of the best players in the league. He's running around, he's cracking jokes, with everybody on the team. It's not just the D linemen. That's the one thing that Hard Knocks is actually going to be able to show as well, is that it's not just cliques on the team as far as like D linemen being with D linemen and receivers being with receivers. You got the receivers, chopping it up with DBs all the time, and everybody up with Aaron and the QBs. So that's one of the good things that Hard Knocks is actually showing. And I'm grateful that they are showing that, because it just shows that a lot of guys on the team are real good guys, and they still want to win. So that's a good thing about it.
Solomon Thomas is a little bit more of a leader than I ever realized, huh? Like that guy, he's a little bit of a vocal leader over there, and the guys were kind of like, you can always tell like when there's a guy like that that's like running the conversation and like got everybody laughing and loose and everything on the sidelines. I feel like I don't know, that was a cool thing to see. And then also just one of the, I think the coolest thing that came out of Hard Knocks, which we haven't brought up yet, is the infinite respect and how much love and what a battle it is every day between Sauce and Garrett Wilson, and how they're going to make each other great. Like I was getting goosebumps watching that. I was like, damn, they came in at the same time. They're both on rookie deals. And then of course the negative shit that spins in my head. I was like, damn, how are we going to get both these guys signed in a couple of years? But I guess we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. It's going to be expensive.
That's one of the better things about this team. And both of those guys actually even said it. The one thing I was laughing about, at the Hall of Fame game, and they're standing on the sidelines. I mean, not standing on the sidelines, but pregame, when Sauce was cracking the jokes on Aaron Rodgers about being 40, and he didn't even notice it. You can see Sauce peeking over him, ready to crack the hell up about Aaron. Aaron didn't even realize he's cracking jokes on him about being 40. So that's a genuine good thing. You got a guy that's been around in this league almost 20 years, and then you got guys been in the league for 2 years, and these guys are chopping it up like they've been best friends for forever. And that's one of the genuine good things about this team again. And these young guys are gluttons for info, to make themselves better about everything that goes on in this league. And a few weeks ago when we were talking about Asante Samuel, trying to jump on Sauce and jump on Revis, Sauce didn't go for it. He didn't bite. You know what I'm saying? He just, man, look, we're all good. I'm trying to root for the guys that actually, even on other teams that are DBs, you know, we can all make each other better, this, that. And so, you know, that's a guy that I actually want on my team because I don't want a guy that's always saying, you know, I'm the best, I'm the best, I'm the best, I'm the best in all of these debates. And, you know, you have all these other players that are actually looking up to try to, you know, got wide receivers over here trying to go at this guy every week. You're already going to get that. You know what I'm saying? So there's enough room, as he said, and there's enough room on the boat. There's enough money in the, you know, in the bank for all the best guys that are around. And he's got one of the best guys to go against every day in the league, in Garrett. And Garrett knows he's got one of the best guys to go against every day in Saul. So that's great, man. Like you guys said, you know, to have two of the best young players in the league going against each other every day in practice, it's just going to make this team actually that much better. And we got to think about on the D line as well. You got AVT going against, you know, Quinnen and stuff like that every day. So those guys are just going to be that much better. And we've pretty much got it across the board where you've got guys that are really good in this league, top guys in this league going against each other on the offense and defense. So that just makes the team that much better.
Jay, are you going with the +3.5 in the over for Saturday?
Put that up again. Put that up again, Ken.
Put that up. Am I going with the +3.5? Are you out of your mind?
You're going money line. Excuse me. You're going money line.
Preseason game +145. You think I'm not taking that money line? We're gonna go. Come on, man. Against what? First of all, have you been looking at all? Like, is Bryce Young gonna play at all? Like, who's playing on?
I'm not sure yet. I don't think they've announced anything yet.
I think they said the starter's going to play for Carolina for a quarter. I saw that today, but you know, things could change right after the game starts. But I saw that today where they said the starter's going to play for Carolina for a quarter.
We don't got Strev to cook anymore, man. Unfortunately, like we're
that
gonna
be a good thing.
It could be a good thing. Could be a good thing. Although, come on, man, I was on the verge. I had that game won. That was a pass interference. Poor Strevler, that guy's playing hurt. He went in there. He throws that pass. He ripped that dude down on the goal line. I was like, it's showtime, baby. I'm about to win this over in this Jets bet. They just don't blow the whistle. Like, what are we doing here? Why are you playing the game if you're not going to blow the whistle there? That was the most blatant pass interference in the history of pass interference.
Because they knew you had Jets money line. That's why.
I had Jets money line, and I already had the over locked up. They make me lose my first bet of the year on that shit.
They're trying to get out of there, man. They were trying to get out of there. The lights are going out. They're like,
that means you got to go double or nothing this week.
Let's get out of here.
Double or nothing is right. Well, they just got to win this week. So I'm taking Jets money line and the over all day.
Rob, any players you're looking forward to seeing on Saturday as we start to wrap it up?
Yeah, man. I want to see the young running backs again, and I want to see all of them because you know with Bam throughout practice for me watching the practices that I've gone to and seeing clips of everything, Bam has made a lot of plays. The practices that I were out there, he made a lot of plays, and especially in the passing game. All the quarterbacks were actually looking in the passing game. So I want to see, you know, the difference between in this game between him, Michael Carter, and Izzy in a contested preseason game. We might have, you know, some starters on both sides of the ball playing, or some guys that actually will be playing during the season, and see how they perform, you know, under pressure in a real preseason game. This a little bit of magnitude because, you know, not too sure how many more chances these guys are going to get as preseason goes along. But you know, that running back room, and also I want to see if you know the young linebackers can actually you know duplicate what they did in the opener, the Hall of Fame game, especially Surratt. If he actually makes some plays in this game, you know, you might not be able to keep that guy off the field. He'll definitely be in there. So there's definitely the running backs and the linebackers that I want in this preseason game.
Yeah, for me, it's offensive line. I mean, I'm going to be laser focused on Mekhi Becton, Joe Tippmann, Max Mitchell specifically. Like we need to see. I'm already, like I said before, not counting on Mekhi that much. But if he goes out there and he has to pull himself off the field after 7-8 plays again, I mean, you know, I don't know what we're doing. Like he's got to play. I mean, wasn't the plan was to play him 20-25 plays in the Hall of Fame game, right?
Yeah, but he said during warm-ups, I guess the turf didn't feel right. So.
Okay.
Well, look, I mean that's going to be what it is, but hopefully he can get on the field. We'll see. So I want to see what he can do. I want to see Max Mitchell perform. I want to see Joe Tippmann do his thing. And I think anything outside of that, besides the running backs, I'm with Rob. I want to see the running backs. Besides that, let's just get out of there healthy and just continue to show a little progress and get us 1 week closer to September 11th, man. I cannot wait.
I want to see the tight end. Excuse me. I want to see the tight ends a little bit. It seems like over the past week, especially Bowden, coming out of the backfield at fullback, he's been getting involved in the offense a lot. Ruckert, we didn't see play last week, so hopefully he gets some reps this week. It seems like they got some nice competition at tight end right now.
Are we looking exactly like for the first half, you think, for the whole first half?
Yeah,
probably.
I think so.
I would think so.
And then what we got? And then we're
like you just said, Kev, with the tight ends. The funny thing is, we didn't see it much in the Hall of Fame game, but Ed made this comment a few weeks back about Ruckert, and I'm kind of noticing that he's actually being in a lot of situations on the field on the offense, especially with the ones. So he might be making some headway this year with a lot of playing time. More than I expected, especially with CJ and Conklin there. But Ruckert might be that guy, man. I mean, I know he was a big guy in the red zone at Ohio State, but picking up this year, he seems like he's making a lot of headway to get a lot of playing time this year. So I'm with you in agreement on that one. Check out how much he actually plays and see if they get them. If they get them involved in, the next couple of weeks in these preseason games, as far as in the passing game goes.
All right, last question. Is Malik Taylor going to beat out Jason Brownlee? What do you guys think?
I think that depends on what happens these next 3-4 weeks, right? I mean, I think they're probably neck and neck. You had Brownlee was flashing, obviously, before the game started, but once the lights went on, it would look like it was Taylor was that guy. So, I think that, they're both the good news is they're both going to be given plenty of opportunities over these next few weeks to earn the spot, right? So may the best man win.
So I guess we're in agreement. They are keeping 6 receivers then, right?
Not necessarily.
Yeah. I mean, maybe both don't make it. Maybe both practice squad. Who knows? But Kev, are either of them playing? I don't know this because you've been in practice. Are either of them playing specials at all, or? Because that usually gets more
Jason Brownlee, I think on Thursday night he had a tackle on special teams, if I remember right.
Brownlee's on special teams. He's a gunner and he's on the kickoff team. So
that'll help. That's what kept you on Geek around here all those years.
Yeah, they're not doing returns though, but yeah, they definitely been on the kickoff teams.
The one thing we're gonna see, the one thing I see Taylor has over Brownlee's speed, that was evident on that deep ball. The one thing Brownlee has over Taylor is size. So it's going to be interesting to see where they're used over these next couple of weeks. But yeah, I think due to the preseason game with Malik catching that long ball down the sidelines and Aaron Rodgers calling for it to be thrown up to Malik, that I think that put him in the ball game because I think all of us, if the ones who've been paying attention to practice. For the first couple of weeks, knew that Brownlee was making plays all over the place, and the quarterbacks were looking his way. But like I said, after the preseason game, going back and then being at practice on Saturday, Malik Taylor was out there, man, and the quarterbacks were actually looking his way after that. I'm just going to be interested to see if Brownlee actually comes back, because like I said, in that preseason game, actually after his second catch, I think it was the third pass that came his way. He had that drop on the sidelines, and he lost a little concentration. I've seen that affected him for the rest of the game. So we'll see if he comes back from that.
Cool.
All right. Anything else from you guys?
Yeah, I got something. Obviously, we got to take care of a little business here. NYJF. If you love the pod, if you love everything that we're doing with the beers and all that stuff, definitely our sponsors. Stumpy's Hatchet House. Go throw some axes. Bring some beers. Bring your friends. I know I can definitely hit a bullseye about 70 to 80% more of the time than Kevin and Rob. I can promise you that. So we're going to head out there. I'm going to definitely make sure I prove that and wing those axes across the room. TACOPS, tactical laser tag. If you don't want to get an axe stuck in your foot, which may definitely happen if we drink too many of those Fireman Ed beers, we can go over to TACOPS. Obviously the lasers and everything might be a little safer for this crew. But yeah, no, it's going to be a lot of fun. TACOPS, we're going to put a team together, run through the warehouse, make sure that we dominate. And then also, like I said, if for people that weren't in the stream, we have the beer coming out with Bolero Snort, the Fireman Ed's NYJF Lager. Stay tuned on all of our socials for that information. make sure you come on out to the Chiefs game. Or the morning of the Chiefs game, we're going to be in the Bolero store parking lot. We'll get all the details for that. I know, Rob, we were talking about, we're going to make some calls to some, some players, former players potentially. And, we're going to get some of the fan clubs out, and we're going to have a really nice morning for a few hours before everybody goes into the lot. So that's going to be amazing. Extend the tailgate by a few hours. Never a bad thing. So we hope to see everybody out there. And that's all I got. Appreciate you guys tuning in. And Rob, I'll let you sign it off.
Hey, we'll see you guys next week on the NYJF pod. See you next week.
See you guys next week. Tyson and I will be live Saturday also. If you guys want to hop in for Jets Panthers, 4 o'clock, we'll be live. So talk to you guys again next week.
Peace. Good one.